Hello, like I was saying, I want you guys to use this as a guide. Write your variables, substitute in your values, go ahead and find your answer, do all your work off to the side, not in the middle of your problem. So go ahead and get started on 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, don't forget your units and your units squared, okay? So go ahead and get started on 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, there's our friend the pause dragon reminding you to pause your device, start working on these problems, and when you get done, press play and we'll talk about them and see how you did. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and get started on problem 2. So we're finding the area of the circle. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and write down our formula. Area equals pi r squared. Our radius is actually, this is giving us a diameter, so our radius is going to be half of this. So half of 14 would be 7. So we're going to input that into our formula. Now remember, I'm going to put 3.14. When I do that, it becomes an approximation. Times 7 squared. And 7 squared is the same thing as 7 times 7, which is 49. We have to do our order of operations, which states we have to do the exponents first before we do the multiplication. So we have area is approximately 3.14 times 49. I'm going to take this off to the side, 3.14 times 49, and do that multiplication. 9 times 4 is 36, write the 6, carry the 3. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12, write the 2, carry the 1. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 is 28. 4 times 4 is 16, write the 6, carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. 6 plus 0 is 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13, write the 3, carry the 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and then there's a 1. So now we're just going to figure out how many decimal places. There's 2, which means our answer needs to have 2 as well. So that's where we put the decimal right there. Now we have to, what do we have to do? We have to round this to the nearest tenth. This is the tenth place, so we look at this 6. It's greater than a 5, so that means we're going to round this 8 up to a 9. So our answer is area is going to be approximately 153.9 meters squared. All right, so if you got that one right, wonderful job. Okay, let's move on to problem 3 and see how you did. So we're finding the area of a circle. We need to write the area formula first. Area equals pi r squared. Our radius is 9. We're going to substitute that in, so we get area equals pi times 9 squared. Remember, 9 squared is the same thing as 9 times 9, which is equal to 81. We're going to substitute that in because order of operations states that we have to do exponents before we can do the multiplication. Well, I'm going to substitute in that 3.14, which is going to make it approximate as well, times 81. Then I'm just going to take this bit off to the side and go ahead and figure out what 3.14 times 81 is. So 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 3 is 3. I'm in the tens place, so I got to put a 0 in the ones place. 8 times 4 is 32. Write the 2, carry the 3. 32 right here. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 would be 11. Write the 1, carry the 1. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. And then I just add. So 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 5, 2. We have to determine the decimal, where to put that. There's 2 decimal places in the problem, which means there's going to be 2 in our answer. So we have 254.34. We have to round it to the nearest tenth. This is the tenths place. This would have to be a 5 or above, and it's not, so it just stays the same. So the area is going to approximately be 254.3 yards. Don't forget the units, yards squared. So if you got that one, wonderful. Okay, on to problem 4. 4, 5, and 6. So problem 4, we're finding the area of the circle again. So we need to write that formula first. Area equals pi r squared. Our radius, right now this is giving us a diameter, and which is 2, and the radius is half of the diameter. So we need to figure out what half of 2 would be, which would be 1. So our radius is equal to 1. So we're going to substitute that in. We have area equals pi 1 squared times 1 squared. Now 1 squared is the same thing as 1 times 1, which is just 1. So we have to do order of operations, which states we have to do our exponents first. So area is approximately 3.14 times 1 squared is 1. And then 3.14 times 1 is just 3.14. I kind of like this problem a lot. I'm just saying. Oh, can't forget our units. Centimeters squared. So if you got that one right, perfect job. Okay, on to problem 5. Okay, we're finding the area of the circle. We have to write our formula. Area equals pi r squared. This is a radius. Our radius is 7.4. We need to go ahead and substitute that in. Area is approximately 3.14 times 7.4 squared. Okay, so 7.4 squared is going to be the same thing as 7.4, oh, that's a point. 7.4 times 7.4. And I don't know what that is off the top of my head, so I got to figure that out. So I'm going to do that right here. 7.4 times 7.4. 4 times 4 is 16. Write the 6, carry the 1. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 1 is 29. And then put the 0. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 2 would be 51. 6 plus 0 is 6. 9 plus 8 is 17. Write the 7, carry the 1. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. And then we have 5. And then we just need to determine the decimal places. So here's one decimal place here. 1, there's another one there. That means our answer has to have 2. So our answer is actually going to end up being 54.76. Whew, okay, so area is approximately 3.14 times 54.76. Okay, this is going to be a doozy of a multiplication problem, but we can do it. So I'm going to put the number with the most digits on top. I'm not rounding because it will be more accurate if we round at the very, very end. So here we go. We can do this. 54.76 times 3.14. And so I chose to put this one because this one has 1, 2, 3, 4 digits, the one with the most digits on top, and 3.14 only has 1, 2, 3 digits. All right, let's do it. Okay, 4 times 6 is 24. Write the 4, carry the 2. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 2 is 30. Write the 0, carry the 3. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 would be 19. Write the 9, carry the 1. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. And then 0, 6 times 1 is 6, 1 times 7 is 7, 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 5 is 5. Now I'm in the hundredths place, so I need to put 2 zeros. 3 times 6 is 18, write the 8, carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 1 would be 22, write the 2, carry the 2. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 would be 14, write the 4, carry the 1. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 would be 16. And now we add, 4 plus 0 is 4. 0 plus 6 is 6. Okay, we have 8 plus 7 is 15, plus 9 would make it 24. Write the 4, carry a 2. 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. And 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 2 is 11. Write the 1, carry the 1. 1 plus 6 is 7, and then 1. Oh my goodness, that was a lot. Okay, now we need to determine where to put the decimal place. So there's one decimal there, another one there, another one there, another one there. So there's 4 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where we put the decimal place. Right here, 171.9464. And then we need to round to the nearest tenth, which means we look here. Is this a 5 or above? It is not, so we just keep our answer, 171.9. So our area is approximately 171.9 centimeters squared. So if you got that problem right, great job. That was a lot of work. Okay, on to problem 6. Here we go. Problem 6. We're still finding the area, so we're going to write that formula first thing. Area equals pi r squared. Our radius is equal to, well, this is the diameter. The diameter is 10. Our radius is half of the diameter, which would make that 10 divided by 2, which would be 5. Perfect. Okay, so area is equal to pi times 5 squared. Okay, 5 squared is the same thing as 5 times 5, which is 25. We substitute that in. Area is approximately 3.14 times 25. And then we just do that off to the side. 3.14 times 25. 5 times 4 is 20. Write the 0, carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. And 0, here we go. We are multiplying right now. We are going 2 times 4, which is 8. 2 times 1, which is 2. 2 times 3, which is 6. And then we add. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 8 is 15. I'm going to write the 5. I'm going to carry the 1. 5 plus 2 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. And 6 plus 1 is 7. So there we go with our answer. We're going to count up the decimal places. There's 2 decimal places, which means there's going to be 2 in our answer. So we end up with 78.5. And we're going to round. This is the tenths place. This number does not round it up, so that's what we're left with. We're left with the area is approximately 78.5 inches squared. So if you got that one right, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, go ahead and turn your page to the next page. And I want you to go ahead and work on problems 7, 8, and 9. So find the area of each circle to the nearest tenth. Use 3.144 pi. Where's our friend? Oh, there's the pause dragon, reminding us to pause our device when you get done with 7, 8, 9, and you're showing all your marvelous, wonderful work. Defining all your terms, showing all your steps, putting a box around your answer, having your units squared. When you get all done with all of that, go ahead and press play and we'll see how you did. All right, see you in a bit. All right, we are back with problem 7. Okay, we're finding the area of problem 7. So we're going to go ahead and write down our formula first. So the area equals pi r squared. Our radius, they're giving us the diameter right here, and the radius is half of the diameter. So half of 22 would be 11. So that means our radius is 11. So we're going to go ahead and substitute that in. We have area equals pi times 11 squared. Now remember, 11 squared is the same thing as 11 times 11, which is 121. So we're going to substitute that value in for 11 squared because whenever we're doing the order of operations, we always have to do the exponent first. So here we go. All right, so remember we're plugging in 3.14, so when we do that, it becomes an approximate value, 3.14 times 121. And we're just going to go ahead and do that math. So 3.14 times 121. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. I'm going to put a 0 there. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we're in the hundreds place, so I'm going to put 2 zeros. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. I'm going to go ahead and add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 1 plus 8 is 9. And 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 3 is 9. 6 plus 1 is 7 and 3. Let's go ahead and count up the decimal places. There are 1, 2 in the problem, which means our answer is going to have 2. So it's going to be 379.94. We're rounding to the nearest tenth, which means we look here. Is this a 5 or above? It is not. So that means our answer ends up being 379.9 millimeters squared. So if you got that one right, wonderful job. Okay, on to problem 8. Problem 8, we are finding the area, so we're going to go ahead and write our problem down. Area equals pi r squared. The radius is equal to 2.5. Let's go ahead and plug in our information. Area is approximately 3.14 times 2.5 squared. Now, order of operations states that we have to do the exponents first. I'm not sure what 2.5 times 2.5 is on the top of my head, so I need to go ahead and figure that out. 2.5 times 2.5. 5 times 5 is 25. Write the 5, carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Write the 0. 2 times 5 is 10. Write the 0, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Now we add. And we have the 5 plus 0 is 5, 2 plus 0 is 2, 1 plus 5 is 6. We're going to count up the decimal places here. There's 1, 2. That means there's going to be 2 in our answer. So what that means is 2.5 squared is the same thing as 2.5 times 2.5, which ends up being 3.14 times 6.25. Perfect. Now we just need to go ahead and do this multiplication. So I'm going to go off to the side and go to 6.25 times 3.14. Here we go. Let's do it. Okay, so 4 times 5 is 20. Write the 0, carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Write the 0, carry the 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Now I'm going to the 10 spot, so I need to put a 0 here. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 6 is 6. Now I'm in the 100 spot, so I have to put a 0 in the 1s and a 0 in the 10s so I can start. 3 times 5 is 15. Write the 5, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And 3 times 6 is 18. I'm just going to go ahead and add all these numbers up. That's 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Write the 2, carry the 1. 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 2 would be 15, plus 1 more would be 16. Write the 6, carry the 1. 8 plus 1 is 9, and then 1. Now we just need to figure out where that decimal goes. So count up all the decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means our answer has to have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places as well. So we end up with 19.6250. Now we have to round to the nearest tenth, okay? So the 6 is in the tenths place. That means we're going to look at this 2. Is this 2 bigger than a 5? I'm sorry, but it is not. So that means that our answer is going to be, the area is approximately 19.6 feet squared. So if you got that right, wonderful, wonderful job. Okay, on to problem 9. Problem 9, we're finding the area, so we have to write that formula first. Area equals pi r squared. Our radius, now this is giving us a diameter. Our diameter is 6, which means our radius is actually going to be half of that. So half of 6 would be 3. So our radius is 3. We're going to go ahead and substitute in these values. So we have our area equals pi times 3 squared. Now remember, 3 squared is the same thing as 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. And the order of operations states that we have to do the exponents before we do the multiplication. So we have the area is equal to, well, I should have put approximately, 3.14 times 9. Okay, now let's just go ahead and do that multiplication. 3.14 times 9. Here we go. 9 times 4 is 36. Write the 6, carry the 3. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Write the 2, carry the 1. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 would be 28. And yeah, now we just need to count up the decimal places in the problem. So there's 1, 2. That means there's going to be 2 in our answer. So that means our answer is going to be 28.26. This is the tenths place. And so is this 6 bigger than a 5? Is it a 5 or above? It is. So that means this is going to round our 2 to a 3. So the area is going to be approximately 28.3 meters squared. So if you got that one, great job. Okay, on to problems 10 and 11. It says a round table has a diameter of 28 inches. What is the area of the tabletop? Use 22 over 7 for pi. Now remember, 22 over 7 is the fractional version of pi, and that's an exact version. So when we're using a formula, when we substitute in 22 over 7, we do not have to put an approximate sign. We can keep it as an equal sign. So let's go ahead and work on problem 10 together. So the first thing I want to do is draw a picture, okay? So we have a picture of a table, and the diameter of this table going through the center is equal to 28 inches. Now, for our problem, we need the radius, right? Because we're doing the area, so we're going to have area equals pi r squared. The radius is going to be half of 28. So what is half of 28? Well, let's go ahead and just divide 28 by 2. 2 goes into 2 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Take away, we drop it like it's hot. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8 without any remainder. So we know that 2 goes into 48, or half of 28 would be 14. So the radius is 14. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and plug in our values. Area is equal, we're going to use 22 over 7 times 14 squared. Now 14 squared is the same thing as 14 times 14, right? And 14 times 14, I got to figure that out. 14 times 14. 4 times 4 is 16. Write the 6, carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Write the 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. And we get 6 plus 0 is 6. 5 plus 4 is 9. And then 196. Perfect. Okay, so we have that our area is 22 over 7. And we have to do order of operations, which states we have to do the exponents first, times 196. So we're going to multiply by fractions. So we're going to make this 196 over 1. And whenever we're multiplying fractions, the first thing we want to do is look to cross cancel. So I really think that 196 is divisible by 7. So we're going to go ahead and see how many times 100. The reason why I think 196 is divisible by 7, because 196 is the same thing as 14 times 14, and I know that 7 goes into 14, so that means that 7 is also going to go into 196. I just don't know how many times. So let's figure that out. 196 divided by 7. 7 doesn't go into 1, but it does go into 19. 2 times 7 will be 14. We take away 9, take away 4 is 5. 1 take away 1 is 0. And then, oh shoot, I'm going to drop that 6 like it's hot. I don't know what I just did. I just wrote it. Okay, so the 6 drops down. 7 goes into 56 8 times. 8 times 7 is 56. No remainder. Boom. So we know that 7 goes into 196 28 times, and 7 goes into itself 1 time. All right, so what do we have to do? We look to cross cancel. We canceled everything out. Now we just multiply across. So we're basically doing, 28 times 22. 2 times 8 is 16. Write the 6, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Write the 0. 2 times 8 is 16. Write the 6, carry the 1 again. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So 6 plus 0 is 6. 5 plus 6 is 11. Write the 1, carry the 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. So there you have it. The area is equal to 616. And we're dealing with inches squared. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the problem 11. Let's see what 11 stating. The 11 says, find the area of the shaded region of the circle. Use 3.14 for pi. Round your answer to the nearest tenth. Okay, so what I'm seeing, we just need to find the area of the shaded portion right here. So what I see is this is half of the whole thing. So in order to solve this problem, you're going to find the area of the whole thing, and once you find that, then you're going to divide it by 2. So I want you to try to go ahead and do this on your own. Go ahead, make sure that you write your formula, define your variables, show all your work, all those types of things. Yeah, but I want to give you a chance to try to figure this out. So go ahead and press pause. Figure out problem 11. When you get done, press play and we'll see how you did. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and see how you did on 11. So we're finding the area of the shaded region. To find the area of the shaded region, we have to find the area of the entire region first. So we're going to write down our formula. Area equals pi r squared. Okay, our radius is going to be, this is the diameter, it's going to be half of the diameter, which would be 6. So the radius is going to be 6. Okay, we're going to substitute in our values. Area is approximately, because we're going to do 3.14 times 6 squared. Order of operations says we have to do the exponents first, and we know that 6 squared is the same thing as 6 times 6, which is equal to 36. So I'm going to substitute 36 in for 6 squared. I get the area is approximately 3.14 times 36. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So now I just need to go ahead and do that. 3.14 times 36. 6 times 4 is 24. Write the 4, carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. Now I'm going to do this, write a 0 in the 1 spot. 3 times 4 is 12. Write the 2, carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9, and then we add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 2 is 0, or it's 10. Write the 0, carry the 1. 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Write the 3, carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So now we just need to determine where to put that decimal. So we count up all the decimal places in the problem, and there's 1, 2. That means there's going to have to be 2 in our answer as well. So we have the area equal, or the area approximately of the entire circle being 113.04. But I need to find the area of the shaded region, which is going to be half of this. So I'm just going to go ahead over here and take this value, 113.04, and divide it by 2. So 2 doesn't go into 1, but it does go into 11, and it goes in 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. We take away. We get 1, and then we drop that 3 down. 2 goes into 13 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. I subtract, I get 1. I'm going to put that decimal there, and then I'm going to drop this 0 down. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. No remainder, and then I drop down the 4. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. No remainder, so we're done. So the area of the shaded would be 56.5. This is the tenths place, so this 2 would have to be a 5 or above to round that up. And it doesn't, so our answer would be the area of the shaded region is 56.5 inches squared. So if you got that one right, yokinakimashita, you did a great job, and we will see you next time. Goodbye. Goodbye.